we're talking about something that gave their all.
Absolutely.
And putting a little nickel dime in the jar, part of the purpose is teaching our children about the freedom they have and the price
some
paid.
of your allowance money.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
that's something that can be used. But Wreaths Across America is here to stay in Coffee County. And it's a veterans organization teaming up with anyone that wants to be a part of it. And so far, Coffee County has been good to veterans.
Oh, they have. We had a lot of people, a lot of businesses and individuals step up big time. And that's how we met the goal this year.
Yes. So our finally, I would say that don't say I should have, say I did.
Yes.
Freedom and democracy is not free.
Yes.
And let's never forget those that served and still serving.
Well, I definitely also challenge the community to join in this great, like you said, patriotic campaign, you know, to honor those that gave their all. And see, couldn't we come together and help to exceed your goal so much so that you have an overflow to carry over into next year?
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yes.
Now, but before we leave, you brought a board in with you. I didn't know if you're going to need it. Are you going to need this for anything?
Well, we have smaller version of this board, and it's simply in a snapshot tell everything about Wreaths Across America.
Okay.
If you're looking at the left side, it says what Wreaths Across America is. You know, annually, 24 countries, foreign countries and 50 states, and also the purpose. Our goal is for the post is every veteran of Coffee County, and the point of contact primarily is me at Post 515 because we discussed this among the organizations. It is simplified for us and for the national organization because they said they didn't want 5,000 checks. One check would do, and we have an account set up that identifies on our budget line that Wreaths Across America, and it worked well last year, and they said let's leave it as is.
So is this a sign that you're putting around to different locations?
We're carrying this with us, a smaller version. Smaller versions are going around to the post.
I just didn't want to overlook it if you meant to talk about it in the show.
These cost money too.
Okay. All right. Well, Angie, Mr. Levin, thank you so much for being here and sharing the Wreaths Across America, and best regards to you as you jumpstart the program off for this year.
Thank you again, my friend.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more Douglas on My Mind right after this break. We're back from break, and thanks for continuing to watch Douglas on My Mind. Joining me on the show now is Mike Hudson, who is our Utilities Director. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Georgia, for having us.
Glad to have you here. If Mike by now does not look familiar to you, he's going to grow on you because he's been here now for about 6 years, going on 7 years with the City of Douglas.
Correct.
Whenever you first started, you came on as our natural gas director.
That's correct.
And your duties have just, woo!
Yeah.
Just ran rapid.
I think
spread out.
Some of the management here has had a goal to get to this point by people retiring, and that finally has become, reality. But there are benefits to having one person over all the utility departments. It's a hard job, but when you have good staff, it's not hard to do.
That's true.
So.
Well, thank you for coming on the show because I know we want to just kind of walk people through and educate everyone a little bit on each department. There's so much to it, so we won't get to it all today.
That's correct.
So if you would agree, we'll bring you back at another time to go more in depth. But like I said, whenever you first started with the City of Douglas, it was natural gas. So we'll start from there. Tell everyone an overview of the natural gas department and why it is so efficient to provide natural gas to the homes and to our customers.
Okay, we basically serve about 1,380 natural gas customers here in the City of Douglas, but that actually reaches out into the county areas as well. We have quite a few poultry houses on natural gas now, 52 to be exact. Every peanut facility that dries peanuts is on natural gas here in Douglas now. Cotton gins. So we serve a very diverse mix of customers from industrial, residential, commercial, and agricultural. Natural gas has been on a very good trend for the last almost 10 years now. Ever since fracking has come on the scene, it's made natural gas a very lucrative fuel. We've been very competitive since we've not followed the fuel market. We used to follow gasoline when we were getting all of our fuels from the Gulf. Now that we're not getting that out of the Gulf anymore, we have been able to steer away from that. So that's one thing that's kept our prices very stable, and the outlook for the next 6 years looks like we'll be very flat. We have not had a natural gas rate increase of any kind in the 6 years, 8 months that I've been here. So that's a good thing. That's it's one of our stronger utilities. Now, it's not a fuel that everyone has to have.
Right.
It's a fuel of choice more than a have to, but it's made a strong comeback.
I was going to ask you about that because I noticed when you were naming some of your industrial business related customers, it seems to be those that are more agri-related. Like you said, the chicken houses and different things like that. How do you determine that whenever an industry is coming in? Is it based off their need consumption for energy or what the use is going to be? Usually
when we get a large industrial customer, they give us what they call a spec sheet of what they're looking for from us as a municipality as far as electric, water, sewer, or gas. We fill out a questionnaire sheet. We kind of give them a best we can rate based on the information they can give us at the time. Most of our agricultural customers on gas have been using propane in the past, and it was just less aggravation to have to worry about filling tanks, and the price has been an issue with them as well. So it's just according to the need of that customer at the time they're looking at possibly switching that fuel. But on an industrial customer, it's usually first thing in the door. They give you an idea of what they're looking for from you as a municipality and utilities. Okay, and you've been a man of many hats. Your hats begin to grow whenever through, like you said, our upper management wanted to try to, through attrition, cut down on the number of directors. So later on, under your hat, you gain the water and wastewater. So if you would kind of give everyone an overview of that department as well. Water and wastewater as well. We serve about anywhere on average 5,200 to 5,500 customers. The unique thing about water and wastewater, a lot of people think we don't actually have to pay for water and wastewater, which is true to a certain extent. We pull it out of the ground, the water portion, but we do have to chlorinate that water. We have to fluoridate that water. We have to have the mains for it to go through to get to the tap at your house. So there is a cost involved in producing that product. And just as well as anything you flush down a toilet, put down a sink drain, has to wind up at our wastewater plant and be treated on the outlet end. So you treat it coming in and going out. You treat it one way coming in, you treat it a different way going out. So and a lot of people don't realize that, and it's the nature of the business we're in. Water and wastewater is probably our most challenging utility, just because the infrastructure, most of it is aged. So we're always chasing that rabbit in a hat, as I say. We're trying to replace stuff. You get one section replaced, your next section is ready to be replaced. We leverage a lot of SPLOST dollars here. City of Douglas had way before my time here, had a very forward-thinking process of having a master plan done that addressed all of their issues in this city, and they set aside monies and had some tough decisions about raising rates to get to where we are today, to be able to replace some of this infrastructure. So I applaud the present mayor and commission and the past mayor and commissions on having that forethought to do that, because at the end of the day, we want to put out the best product we can for our customers. But those funds help with the ongoing infrastructure improvement. That's correct. We've got, like I say, rate projects is one where we actually take rate monies we collect from our customers and put back into this system. We've got SPLOST projects, which is usually special local option sales tax that's voted on by the general public. We take those monies, we split those with the county. County gives us our portion, and we do water and sewer projects for those as well. So we've got a very diverse mix of how we fund these things, but at the end of the day, we've got a 20-year master plan. So, and it's about a $60 million investment that the City of Douglas has has obligated to make to this community. And right now we've done about 23 projects thus far, which is a good start, but we got a long way to go.
Hey, all the improvements not going to be made overnight.
That's correct.
Yes.
Rome wasn't built in a day, as the old saying goes.
Right.
If I can back up for a minute, George, I didn't say this about natural gas. We do have to purchase natural gas. It is a wholesale item that we buy through Southern Natural, a Kinder Morgan company. So we do purchase that gas from a supplier. They pump it to our take station, and then we take it at our take station and distribute it through our system. We're considered a local distribution company. It's what we're considered by government. We are heavily regulated by the Public Service Commission. We have to do very in-depth inspections, and all my staff has to be properly trained to work on this system. So very safe, reliable, but also a very, very regulated utility that we do in gas.
And understandably so.
Correct.
Okay. Well, and not too long ago, I guess about a month or two, you have been easing over into, as Lamar Hill, who was the former director, transition out. You are now the director as well over the electric department.
That's correct.
So if you will just kind of walk us through the process and customer base and the service provided through that department.
I think the electric period is the biggest concern for most citizens in Douglas because it affects the most people. It is not a fuel, electricity is not a fuel of choice. It is something you pretty much have to have if you're going to live in our territory. We do compete with Satilla EMC and Georgia Power. That's our two local companies we compete with as far as rates. Now, I say compete, that's who we have to be compared to because the people that don't have us usually have one or the other of those two utilities.
And we get that a lot of comparisons to those.
That's correct, and it's okay, we love to be compared, but let's compare fairly. If you're talking about Georgia Power or Satilla, you're talking about electric only. If you're going to compare that to a City of Douglas utility bill, you can only compare that to the electric portion of that bill. You can't compare the water, sewer, gas, garbage, leaf and limb. It's not fair to compare us that way. So if you're going to compare us apples to apples.
That's right.
We want to talk electric. I'm going to give everybody a website at the end of this presentation today that they can go and actually look at us based up against other municipalities as well as other, Georgia Powers, Satillas. They can compare us to anybody in the state of Georgia that's on that Public Service Commission website. But we do have, I want to get this across too, we have two rates here. We have a winter rate which starts November 1st, runs through May 1st for our electric, and we also have a summer rate which is May 1st through November 1st. I think a lot of people do not realize you're paying one rate in the winter months, you're paying another rate in the summer months.
Now explain to our customers why there's two rates.
Well, you got different demands in both those seasons. Of course, when people are pulling hard on this system, there's going to be a different demand on the electrical system, or the grid as we call it, than there would in some of those. And there is some off-peak months in there because we've had very mild winters here. So the demands have not been as drastic as they have been in the past.
That's right.
And the same thing with summer. We've had some milder summers here lately, but the Junes, Julys, it's always hot, and usually in January and February it's really cold. So you got to be very conscious of your thermostat during those times. You have to, if you want to be really warm, you're probably going to pay the price to be really warm. If you want to be really cool in the summer, you're going to pay the price to be really cool. Now we do have people and citizens who live in what we call sick houses or dilapidated housing. We have the ability to do what we call an electrical audit on that property or an energy audit, and we can actually come in and help you figure out where you're losing that utility at, whether that's needing some window caulking done, stuff like that. So we've got many tools we can help our customers with, but we have to know you've got an issue. We can't just always say, well, there's no way I used it. So, but we want to help our customers. We want to educate them, get them to understand that we're not here to be the bad guy. We want you to have a fair utility. But another thing I want to get across with electric, there are fixed costs built into our rate structure. We, forefathers before us made agreements to buy power through certain projects through what we call MEAG, which is the Municipal Electric Authority of Georgia. That's right. That has tied us into some long-term contracts. Well, those costs have to be paid regardless if we're using that power or not. So we need people to understand we do have fixed rate costs. So in other words, if we're selling power for 11 cents, there may be 8 cents of that that's a fixed rate cost that we have to pay right off the top. And I'm just throwing numbers out. Don't quote me on those numbers, but we do, and we'd be glad to sit down and talk to people about that. So long story short.
Well, most businesses, I mean, in the city, people forget that we do have to use business principles. And with any business, the overhead cost is passed on to the customers.
This is correct.
Is that correct?
Well, this is what I want to get across today too. We like to consider utility funds as what we call enterprise funds. The enterprise funds for any municipality, not just Douglas, but any municipality that has enterprise funds, were created for one sole purpose. That was to help support the general fund services of that city. When I say general fund services, that's pretty much anything that does